Good morning, everyone, and welcome to Viva Cafe con Leche. And yes, our start time is 8:05, not 8 o'clock in the morning. That is for the new year. We were just chit-chatting away before we got on, and then next thing we know, it's like, ah, shit, it's 8:05. Oh my. Okay. So good morning. It's not that we didn't want to hang out with you this morning. It's just that, well, we were enjoying the conversation between the two of us. And the irony is that the story that Gladiator Guru shared is going to be a story that she shares this morning with all of you. So welcome and good morning. Good morning, Milagros Medina in the house. First one on. Kelly Reese, good morning. I'm sorry, Kathy. Why am I looking at Kelly? And I said it wrong as I'm saying it. I'm going, that's not quite right. And it's because I can't even read properly sometimes without my glasses. So Kathy, good morning. And thank you for sharing. We really appreciate it. So yes, for those of you that are coming on, always remember to share, follow, subscribe, like, do all that fun stuff through YouTube and Facebook, and share it as much as you can. So thank you everyone for being here today. I am the badass Buddha, Lori Monaco. I hail from Southern Connecticut, which I am still located in, and the goal is to move out this year. Almost did it last year. And the goal is to move out this year, but now redirecting because now I got to find a new place to live. And yep, it's beautiful here today. It's chilly. It is probably up to 33 degrees. Thank you for having it on the bottom of my laptop. But it's sunny. And that's the cool part because yesterday was, I think it was about 40 degrees, and I went walking and it was sunny and it was just spectacular. So the cold I could deal with. It's the sun that really makes the difference. And good morning, Tiffany Bryan.
It really does. Well, good morning, badass Buddha Milagros. Buenos dias, mi amorcito. Kathy, Tiffany Bryan, thank you for always showing up. Or as we like to say, popping up like slap magic. Your presence is always felt and always welcome. And it is
Yes.
like a warm blanket on a cold day to know that no matter what the topic is, you all are always here, ready to share, ready to participate. And you know what? That's what a tribe is all about. So again, gracias. And I am La Margarita, your gladiator guru, coming from, I think it's kind of a dreary looking Tampa morning. It's foggy. It's 52 degrees with a low of 48. Um, so it's always exciting when it's cool, but then when it's like a different cold from up north. So we deal with it for now anyway. I've been here, 16 years? Too long. 16 years, too long. I was only supposed to be here for like 7 months when I
Really?
moved
It
to
wasn't supposed
Utah.
to be a permanent thing?
No, never. I was supposed to come
Oh.
here um, when my grandson was about due to be born, right? And then that following June, my daughter would have finished her college. And so I was here to stay with my 3-year-old granddaughter and the newborn until she finished school, and then he would go into daycare. But then that June, my dad died, everything shifted. So yeah. And then
Was your dad in Florida?
nope, he was coming
Oh.
to Florida because Tip and Henny were going to have like a sort of big wedding. And so he was so anticipating coming. We were on the phone. He was telling me what color because it's Florida, he wanted like baby blue shirts, the little collar shirts with the one pocket over here. And then he died the following week. But needless to say, with that message, I just want to say, today is the life you are living. And if you have your parents, stop being angry with them. Appreciate them, especially your mom. We go through. If you are a parent, if you're a female and a parent, and you know what you went through giving birth, be a little more lenient on your mom because sometimes we didn't want you fuckers in the first place, and now we love you, right? But the thing is, be appreciative, be grateful. They did the best they could with what they had. They didn't have internet. They didn't have us every Tuesday and Thursday morning. They didn't have self-help books. So appreciate them in their now for where they came from, and just, you know what, that would help you surpass all the obstacles that you will face in your life as you get older, and take it from somebody who had to go through that. So that's one thing. One little tidbit of info I wanted to share is fall in love with the people in your life where they are. Don't try to change them. Just accept them. And that's my little tidbit for the day. Here we go. What are we doing? Our intentions?
Yep, we're going to set our intention, and we're going to do our mantra, and then we're going to talk about the life you are living as part of our series. So we're going to remind you what the series is for the format of the show for this year, and but let's take care of that intention, and let's do our mantra. So as always on Viva, we set an intention for the show every morning. So if you are able to close your eyes for a moment, if you're driving, please don't close your eyes, but close your eyes for a moment and set your intention. So set the intention for whatever it is that you want to happen today. And you could be greedy. You could set more than one intention. So my intention, I'm going to say today, I'm going to put one out there today, is I'm going to be productive today and happy, joyful in my productivity. So joyful and joyful happiness, productivity is my intention. So you set your intention the way that you want to set it, and keep your eyes closed. Go ahead, Gladiator Guru.
And be filled with gratitude. Be filled with gratitude of the simple stuff, as I said this morning. Simple stuff. You woke up today. Grace and gratitude equals the joy that the badass Buddha speaks of. Be graceful with all that comes your way, and be grateful that you saw it through, that you closed the door, that you opened another. That's be graceful with what comes your way, and be grateful that you had the strength and courage to see it through. At the end, it brings you joy.
Nice. Very nice. Very nice. Okay, now you could open your eyes if you still have them closed, because now it's loud time. We need to say the mantra as loud as we can, even if you say it loudly in your head, because this is what's getting the blood rushing today. This, if you could stand up on your feet if you want to, throw your arms up, do one of those things like, you really mean it. So here we go. I am a disruptor.
Oh, I'm a disruptor.
I am unapologetically courageous.
I am unapologetically courageous.
I am spiritually grounded.
I am spiritually grounded.
I am magically orgasmic.
Ole.
And I live my truth.
And I keep it real.
That's right. Big breath in. Woo! Do you know if you're feeling a little fatigued, that taking about 2 to 3 breaths in, even one big breath in, can really wake you up? So sometimes do that, like if you're feeling tired and you're like, I can't do it, just sit and go. Once is fine. 2, 3 times is great. No more than that, you might pass out.
Even in my angry times, my rageful times, a deep breath helped. A deep breath helped. Even, when your body's in pain, a deep breath. Slowly, so you don't get dizzy, but slowly. It alleviates the pain with the cramps, with the backache. Right now I'm in pain. My knee, my back is hurting me. I'm stretching my legs so you can see me wobbling. But Badass Buddha is absolutely correct. It doesn't matter where you're at right now, but you're not your regular self. Stop. Hit pause. Don't answer somebody if you're angry. Take a deep breath. We need breaths to survive. Yes. Well, you need to take breaths to not go to jail. Breathe. Buenos días, Lydia.
That's
so
a very powerful way to put it.
Think of things and people get upset, and you ever notice that they just ramble and they're not, people take a breath. They're not breathing. Take a deep breath. When I say at the end of every show, breathe in the beauty, breathe out the bullshit, It wasn't a catchphrase that I created just to be popular. It was something that I did because I was a rageful person. And when I was rageful, I was very, very dangerous. So I learned how to breathe. How to breathe. It didn't stop my rage. It didn't happen right away. It took some time, but it always left me where I started and not where I didn't belong. And I learned that after I interacted with that rage many times, even in my home with my husband, kicking doors in if he ignored me and went into the room like trying to dissipate whatever was going on, only made it worse. So it's really helpful. All this to say, when you're feeling down, when you're feeling in pain, when you're feeling in rage, when you're feeling happy, take a deep breath. That's it. That's my advice for the morning right now.
Nice. And then we're done. That's it. That's good enough. We're out. We So today's conversation is the life you are living. Okay. And so let's break it down. We're going to break it down periodically throughout every show so that you know what we're doing, because this is a really, really cool little experiment we're doing. And if you stay on top of this and you watch every show, you're really going to get a lot of incredible guidance this year for free, because that's what it is. It's like, it's a conversation, it's a show, but we really, really are pushing the element of personal development and highlighting what we do as coaches. So we really want to make this like this ongoing coaching session for the entire year, twice a week. Okay. All right. So we're breaking the show down into quarters. Quarter one, the first quarter, January, February, March, you get the quarter system, is know thyself. So we're going to start with who you are right now. So who am I now? That's going to be the question that's answered throughout the first 3 months. Okay. For January, we'll focus on awareness. For February, we will focus on acknowledge and acceptance. For March, we'll focus on accountability. We go into the next quarter. The next quarter is called what's possible. Who do I want to be? So we go to who is it that we really would like to be? Where did we fall short last year? Maybe. Who is it? How do we want to one up ourselves? Right. So April will be understanding and capabilities. May will be beliefs. June will be behaviors and habits. Then we start the third quarter, which is taking action. So July starts potential month. August is taking action. I missed one somewhere along the line. Oh, no. And September is gratitude. And then that leaves the last quarter, the October, November, December, which is review and commit and recommit, where we go over everything that we went over the first 3 quarters and check in to see on your progress. So this ought to be really interesting, but we're not gonna take away from the show itself, as far as we're still giving you information and having a great time and in your face and all that stuff and being silly and crazy. We're still going to have our guests on our show, but we're going to have those topics that are specific so you can work on yourself and enjoy the format at the same time. So today's conversation is the life you are living. So what we're going to be talking about today is it the life you wanted to live? Are you currently living the life that you wanted to live or had intended to live? Like, think back when you were in your teens and 20s, planning your life. Oh, I want to be this when I grow up, or I want to have this many kids, or I want to have no kids, or whatever it was. I want to travel. Flash forward to today, to your however old you are, your 30s, 40s, 50s, 60s, 70s. Are you currently living the life that you wanted to live? And did you live the life you want to live? Maybe sometimes we did for a little while and then all of a sudden we just let it go. So that is the baseline of the conversation today. So go ahead, Gladiator Guru. What do you want to say about that? And if you want to, I don't know when you want to share that story.
Well, Kathy, thank you for liking the list, because it is a phenomenal list. And it's all about sharing. We made this year, we are we decided that we want to provide tools to just enhance the wealth of health, mental health, spiritual health this whole year. So we sat and we decided what the shows were going to be about, because it's important for us to be healthy of mind, body, and soul. And what better way to be healthy than to be wealthy and sharing that information? And that's what we have dedicated every Tuesday and Thursday of our lives for the rest of the year to do for you. So thank you, Kathy, that wanting to share this, and please do, because you never know who's a person that looks so put together, that is the most loneliest within, that needs to hear some stuff. Not only needs to hear us speak, but needs to read the comments that you share. Because if they see people who are dedicated to watching the show leaving comments, then they believe that it's not just what we're speaking, but it's what other people are getting from it and sharing with the tribe as well. So, it's what do they say? It's what makes the world go round. Information, the love, and the dedication to do so. So yes.
Wait, hold, before you get started, I want to comment on something that you said. You don't know when somebody's really put together. We really don't know if they are, and they could be living in a phenomenal life, yet deep down they're so sad. And obviously, if they're sad, then they aren't living their truth. They aren't there's something that's lacking within. And I think of it whenever somebody commits suicide, especially when it's somebody that was famous, somebody that was that appeared to be doing okay. Not talking about somebody who like hit high and then all of a sudden hits a low. Think of what was the chef, that celebrity chef, what was his name that committed suicide? And then right after, what was it, a month, the designer. Both of them seemed like top of their game. There was nothing came up after they died that, oh, their finances hit rock bottom. There was nothing that showed. It's just that they were depressed. So go ahead, Gladiator Guru. Thank you for bringing that up. That
No,
was
but
really
that's true. I mean, we can go into a whole other show of my conspiracy theories on that designer who killed herself while her 12-year-old was there. Like, why would you throw yourself out the bed? There's just too much stuff. People are using that. Anyway, that's a whole other show. Anyway, so to what the badass Buddha was saying, um, be who you want to be. Don't let anything get in your way. Like the badass Buddha and I, we have different responsibilities in our lives. But when my children were little, I still made choices that people at the time didn't think were right. But the reason for me is I've always rode the wave of chaos, and I always chose my path. But let me tell you, everybody has a choice. When my husband got sick, I had a choice to leave. We were just married. I could have annulled the wedding, the marriage. But I chose to be there as a caregiver. Even though I complained, I kicked and screamed, the way I enjoyed it, all the gambit of emotions I felt. But you know what? Milagros wrote something, I'm still growing up. Yeah, half the time I still don't know what I want to be when I grow up, because that inner child is always present, always dancing, always getting me into trouble sometimes. And, that's still good that we're entertaining that inner child, because people think to be an adult, you need to have everything serious, everything, all the ducks need to be aligned. And if you don't, then you're not taking life serious, you're ignorant, you need to grow up. I mean, there's so many names that people say to people who are just being silly and are living their lives. Take care of your responsibility, but you know what? Half the time we are organizing a life filled with things that we needed to eliminate.
Oh, sit with that one for a minute. Say it again, please.
Half the time we are organizing a life filled with things that we needed to eliminate. And now we're mad, and we feel frustrated, and we feel bloated, but it's because you're filled with shit you don't need. And it affects your body. So what life are you living? That's what you need to sit and just write a letter to yourself, look around, you know, pay attention to what you have in your car. Like sometimes people live in their car and they don't realize it. What are in your closets? What are you having bins that you might use next summer? Like there's people in shelters, and I don't even know where my cousin Iritza is, but she's constantly going through her bins. You know, and I say just donate them. There's so many shelters that need certain stuff. Because let me tell you something. Anyone who knows me knows I love my books. I love my books. And yesterday I decided I'm going to go and I'm going to find a place that are going to appreciate my books, and I'm going to donate the majority of my books that I've collected over 20 years,
Wow,
with the
that's
exception of a
big.
few. Why? Because when you learn who you are, right, you will learn once you need less, you will have more.
Yep.
So those books have, I've had some of those books on my bookshelves. I've had since my son was about 6 and he's about to be 33. And everywhere I've moved, those were the first things I packed. Those were my favorite children. So the more, stop organizing what you should have eliminated. Because all you're doing is taking from here and putting there and putting. No wonder you can't make a fucking decision.
Yeah.
No wonder you walk around feeling like you don't have a choice in living the life you want. Stop. Like I said the other day, I need to get a Rubbermaid. And then I'm like, I don't own Rubbermaids. Because you put it, and then you forget, and then 3 years later, you're like, fuck, I gotta go through that. And then you look through it, and you're like, look at, remember. And you repack it. So that's, everybody lives differently. But there's a saying that has been around since I was little, and it was, keep it simple. Less is more. And then I walked the camino. And I walked with one backpack with 3 pair of panties, 500 miles. Slept in 31 different beds. Didn't get laid in any of them, but I still have my 3 panties intact. But who walks for a month, over a month, with 3 panties, 2 pair of pants, 2 shirts, 2 pair of socks, and be happy? That's my choice. But don't tell me, oh no, I need this, I need that. You don't. You want to have them. There's a difference between wanting and needing. And that's what you have to investigate for your life. The same way you know what they say, if the best FBI agents would be women, because we can find out anything we want about whomever we want, but yet we don't know who the hell we are. Stop shining that spotlight out to everybody around you and protect it and let it shine within you. That's how you begin living the life that you want. And if you're there now, congratulations. Share your secrets with the people closest to you so that then they can share with the people closest to them. And let's start a revolution of awareness. Go ahead, badass.
The question you want to start with yourself, and I've got to jump off for a few minutes in a moment, but is really ask yourself, did you ever live the life you wanted to live? Like, think back. See, this is awareness. And I know people say, don't focus on the past. You got to focus. Okay, no, in order to know where you're going, you have to acknowledge your past. You have to see your present, because your present is your past. What you're doing today is what was created yesterday and before that. And in order for you to change for your tomorrow, you have to be aware of all the present and the past. So did you ever live the life you wanted to live? Are you currently living the life that you had intended? And I look back at my life and say, my life has gone barely the way that I wanted it to. Barely the way that I wanted it to. Like, I mean, I became a chiropractor, and that was one thing that was on my list when I was in college that I did fulfill. I almost didn't. I started and then I dropped out, and then I waited 3 more years and I went back again and I finished it. But I had wanted to get married. I wanted to have children. I like in my 20s, I had this whole idea of like, I wanted to be with somebody who had the same mindset as I did, was healthy. We were a healthy family. We ate well. We exercised. We were successful, very, very happy traveling together and everything. None of that. Never crossed my mind that I would be brokenhearted twice by two really horrible selfish individuals, and then have children late in life. And I don't regret my children. I do not regret whatsoever, and how I had them and when I had them. But I figured I would be in my 20s. By my mid 30s, I'd be done with having my kids. I'd have three. They would have been all close in age. None of that happened. And so you have to redirect,
Mm-hmm.
and I will be back.
Yes, you have. You know what? But you see, the operative word she said was she does not regret how the event of her life and when they took place. She's not regretting having children late in life. You know, those two horrible individuals that she chose to love. It's like, what do we call women like us? We're mending magnets. We think that, oh, you're broken. I'll fix you. And thinking that then we will walk down, this road of just contentment and everlasting love. And the idea is good. They sold us many fairy tales on that. The reality is that there is a reality to it. So when you're aware that everything is temporary in life, everything, you will learn to appreciate what you have in your now. And then you take from yesterday. Listen, I don't even have a copy of it here. But for those who saw the show, you know that my journal with the accompanying notebook is out. But in the description of the journals on my margaritademargarita.com, it gives it to you right on the landing page. Check it out. Because at the end, it says yesterday, today, tomorrow. Listen carefully. Yesterday, today, tomorrow. Yes, you are the historian of your past. You and none other can share with the world that history to help them propel and avoid what you went through, because you're the guide. You're the historian of your past. You are the professor of your today. You profess where your life is going to go. No one else. Stop using the words, I didn't have a choice, I don't have a choice, because you're demeaning yourself. When you choose to live the life that you want to live, you have to be okay with every decision, which means you have to make the decisions for your life. So you are the historian of your past. You are the professor of your today. And you're the event planner of your tomorrow. Don't hand your life to anybody to plan out just so you can have an excuse to be a victim and complain. And that might sound harsh, but a lot of us do that. Maybe weren't aware of it in the beginning, but now it's just easy to blame somebody else because your life didn't go as you planned. Well, remember, when you think something, you got to put it into action, which means you got to roll up your sleeves, put your big girl panties on, and do the work. Just because you're like, oh, I wish I was rich, that a bank is going to knock on your door and pour money into your house. What is rich? What is wealth? Wealth is having your health. Because if you don't take time for your health, you would be forced to use your wealth to do that, right? So if you're working, building your bank accounts, ignoring your health issues, then all that money you save for retirement or for a better life when you were older, it's going to all go on your medical fees. Take care of your health, because you know what? The best things in life are free. And people hate to hear that, but yes, they are. Take a stroll through the park. If you want to do something memorable with your kids, take them to the playground and ride down the slide with them. I mean, there's so many things that are free in life, but we feel that they're not worthy unless we're paying somebody to go into their amusement park or to go into their movie theater. And it's the programming that we have been brainwashed to. Take your kid to the park. You know what? Buy ice cream at home. Make ice cream cones and go for a walk with them. You don't have to stop at the ice cream truck. So many people don't do what they want to do. They don't live the life they want to live. And I bring it up to kids because the badass Buddha was talking about, she got a child under 12, I think. My great nephew is 5. And all they want to do is spend time with you and go for a walk and go to the park. And they don't want to be in the store shopping. Of course, they don't like it. They're going to act up. So, did you ever live the life you wanted to live? I can honestly say it's been a winding road for me. I have, and then assignments took place, so I had to blend into those years, knowing that labyrinth that I was in, of the uncertainties of keeping somebody alive and doing whatever, that it did have an exit. I just had to take a deep breath and trust my instincts and complete the labyrinth and not have any bad taste for what I went through. So, hola Maria, Wanda Stover, Kathy, I'll get right to you. So, yeah, it was a winding road for me. So think about that question. Did you ever live the life you wanted to live? And let's start answering it. Kathy's wrote, what I wanted to be was never a subject of growing up. I was a senior in high school when I was asked what was I going to do after high school. I had no idea. I was the salutatorian of my class. Oh, that's wonderful, Kathy. But I think at that age, a lot of people don't know what they want. The biggest accomplishment is getting out of high school, is graduating. When people say, what's your biggest regret? Not going to prom. Because I can't regret anything else. But I would have loved to have gone to prom.
Yeah, I didn't go, and I don't regret that at all. I hated my high school. I really did.
I think, no, I would have liked to have gone, but I didn't. but when they ask, see, it's not about the prom. But that's the one thing from my past that I can hold on to. Everything else I dealt with, it left scars. Some of the wounds were infected. You know, I had to go back and yank this off and put alcohol on it and put another Band-Aid. And you know, so all of that happened, but that was just something that was simple that I should have went through. You know, so when people ask, other things happen, I couldn't avoid it. I dealt with it. Some I didn't. The wounds got infected spiritually, emotionally, had to go back. There was a lot of work to be done. But if something as simple as going to my prom, that's one thing I can say, yeah, I would have gone to my prom. You know, not anything else that was horrible that happened. Because whatever was horrible that happened, right? But that was something I had control over, was my prom. Continue on.
When I look back and review, like, did I ever live the life that I wanted to live? What I shared with you before, that's part of it. You know, I wanted to be an adventurer. I was always kind of different than a lot of the other white women. I was always the other white women. I got a tattoo really early in life when only bikers did. You know, I had a motorcycle license and rode motorcycles when really not a lot of women did. You know, I knew how to use tools and fix cars and all that stuff. You know, and I loved that about me, and I loved that I was, and it was always like people would always get, especially men, would be very impressed by that. The thing though is I was so damn insecure that I didn't have that badass quality. Like I would always get to a certain level and then I would fall back. This is a little too much. This is a little, what are people going to think? And I listened to way too many people around me. rather than having some people around me that said, damn, that's really cool that you do that, good for you. I had people that said that, but the people that quote I gave more power to would often have a comment opposite of what I was. And so I heard that all the time from the people that were quote influential in my life. And I would constantly fall back. And then when I would start to veer towards something that they deemed as impressive, that's when I would get the praises from them. And so when I look back and say, did I live the life that I wanted to live? I got to really try different things and see different worlds, and I really got to know myself, but I didn't take that information and run with it. Like my first marriage sucked. There's no question. But the good pieces of that marriage, he was a bit of an adventurer. So he liked doing things. And a lot of that was pulled out of me. Like I loved that part of it. We used to hike all the time, mountain bike. We would scuba dive. We would boat. We would go boating. We did a lot of outdoor stuff, and I loved that piece of it, so that what being exposed to that made me realize that's part of me. That's who I am. I'm definitely an adventurer. I like doing that stuff. But what I learned about myself was that I had a tendency, and a lot of women do this. Whoever they're dating, because they don't really know who they are, or they're afraid to be who they are. They tend to veer towards the person they're dating. So if they're into this, they get into that. If then they break up with that person, then they're into this, they get into that. There's nothing wrong necessarily with that, as long as you're in the explorative phase. If you say, oh, I'm going to try it, like it, great. Don't like it, but don't forget about it when you move on to the next thing. Don't completely close it. When I started dating my second husband, he didn't do any of the things that the first husband did. So I didn't. I had all my own scuba gear. I owned it. I moved back up to Connecticut. I'm like, where the hell am I going to go scuba diving? I could have found a group. I could have gotten together with a scuba shop and went out on scuba trips. But because he wasn't interested in that, I put it to the side, ended up selling it all. I got rid of my mountain bike for years. I got rid of so many things that were things that I loved to do, because that's not what he liked to do. And we weren't going to be able to do it together because he had no interest in doing it. And I look back at that, and that's, again, regret is stupid. Regret is stupid, but we are human and we can't control. Sometimes we do have regret, The only thing that I regret about that is the fact that I wasn't so strong and loving to myself to say, I like this. This represents me. So you either do it with me or you don't, and you don't have to, but you can't tell me not to. And in other words, if I'm hanging out with other people that do this, then you can't tell me I can't do that, because you don't want to do that, and that's your choice. But that's the lesson learned. So when I look at my life now, I still am not living the life that I wanted to live, because my intention was very different last year of where I wanted my life to be at the end of last year. And it didn't happen because of circumstances. So what do I do with that information? That's the question, is what do I do with that information? Like that very famous text conversation with Gladiator Guru, what are you going to do about it? Or no, she said, what are you going to learn from it? And I ask myself that all the time about the last 3 months of 2022. What did I learn from this? And how does that fit into the life that I'm living? And how does that fit into the life that I want to live versus the life that I've been living? So these are the deep conversations, and it's all awareness. All of this conversation is awareness of your past, awareness of your present, awareness of who you are now and who you were as a result of the life that you're living and the life that you created because of who you are. So it's like what comes first, the chicken or the egg? There's no answer to it. Right? Is that correct? Would you agree with that?
Yes. I think everything we put out, we must say for ourselves, if you still have an idea of the life you want to live, if without guilt, without shame of where you are right now, right? Because we tend to say, well, I can't do that because, you know, I need to work until I'm retired, or my kids, or my grandkids, I need to help out with my grandkids, or I've been at this job, I still have two more. When you put everyone else in front of you, you're never going to live the life you want.
That's right.
Okay? You can live the life you want with the people you have if you make yourself a priority. Doesn't mean eliminate your job, eliminate your husband, eliminate your kids.
Although
What it
it could.
means is incorporate them into your life that
Although it could.
matters.
If that's
Okay?
what needs to happen, then it could.
Yeah. So, you know, your goal should not be to do more. It should
Yes.
be to have less to do.
Yes.
When we don't, when we, and the Badass Buddha and I had this conversation yesterday, when you do less on certain times in your life, but you're really doing more, but you feel guilty because you're doing less right now. So then you can't do more because now you're fucking your brain thoughts up and making them all twisted up like a salty pretzel. And then you get mad at yourself because you feel like you're a lazy couch potato because you should have been doing this, but you really weren't ready to do that because your mind wasn't in it, your heart wasn't in it. It wasn't the time to do it, but because you need to be moving around to feel like you're something, you create nothing.
Yes.
So
Hell yes.
So the goal for many of us,
Awareness of that, by the way.
yes, is to no longer to get more done, especially on these overcast days, but rather to have less to do. Because when you stop being busy, you're more productive. That's it. That has been proven by many people.
And especially us. We were talking about this very thing yesterday. We were talking
Yes.
about how complicated, there's so much there. And I was saying to Gladiator Guru that I am, and I'm not alone on this because I've been asking people around, but I'm on information overload and I'm on decision fatigue. Like that is what is going on. That is where I've been mentally, emotionally, and physically tired. You know, again, I will put in part of that is the grieving period, you know, the process. I get that. But I was even a little bit prior to my father passing and prior to him actually getting sick where we thought he would pass. I was already starting to feel that because we are thrown so much information and then we're expected to just sift through it and decide which one's going to work with us because this one's going to be good for you, this one. And in all, we read something, I got to attend that seminar, I got to do this. Sounds good. I want to learn more about myself. This is interesting. This is interesting. But then it just becomes this big pile of shit and we can't seem to get out of it when all we need to do is just be more simple. And when we take that step back and allow ourselves that space to sit with it. That's why when Gladiator Guru said that last Tuesday, it has been resonating in my head, like just reverberating actually in my head back and forth, taking January to be your month of rest, rest, reflect, reset. And in that time when we're quiet, that is when we get the most creative. So if you are in that space of I don't know if I'm which direction I'm going. I feel like I have a foot nailed to the floor. That's what I said to Gladiator Guru yesterday. I'm like, I feel like my foot's nailed to the floor sometimes, and I'm literally walking in a circle. And I said, well, really figuratively, because I'm not really nailed to the floor. But as I'm talking to her on the phone, I'm like demonstrating it, not that she could see me, but I'm like walking in a circle, you know. And if you are feeling that way, stop. Do what Gladiator Guru said. Take this month to rest, reset, recover, relax, do whatever the R's you want to do. And then open yourself up to that creative part. Asking yourself those bigger questions. Am I living the life that I want to live? And maybe you say, yeah, you know what? I am living the life that I want to live. Wonderful. Wonderful. Then elaborate on that. what is it that makes my life so wonderful? What is it that I'm living that it's so great? And can I sustain this? That's the other thing. If you are living the life that you want to live, what will it take for you to sustain this? Maybe it's your health. Say, well, I'm very active. Like my sister. My sister is 8 years older than I am. She's 60. She just turned 61, and she is in badass shape. I mean, she could hike like 15, 20 miles, and she is with a backpack on, and she is really like just that good a shape. And she's very strong too, so I look at that and I say, God, I want to be like that, like I've wanted to be. And she's 8 years older, so she's very inspirational to me.
Mm-hmm.
So if I say that, then if I say, well, I mean, I'm enjoying my life and I'm going out and I'm hiking, I'm doing things, am I living the life I want to live? Well, no. I mean, because I want to go hike further. I want to go on better adventures. I want to be stronger. Then what do I need to do, to get there? So if I say I'm living a great life, what can I do to sustain that? In my sister's case, she needs to keep herself in shape to sustain that. She says, I love hiking in Peru. I love hiking in Italy, and I want to keep doing that. Then she needs to keep herself in good health to be able to do that. So that's why you could be living the life you want to live, but it's also about sustainability. What are you doing every day that's going to allow you to sustain that fabulous life that you've created? But for most, I would say, would you agree with Gladiator agree that most would probably say they aren't living truly the life that they want to live? What do you think? Do you think
Yes,
people are saying that?
of course, because at times I say it. And I just want to, before I go into that, go back to what you were saying about the rest. Take this month to rest. I don't mean become a couch potato. Don't mean
Right.
don't do anything. What it means is, for many of you who live up north, if you have plants, repot them. Put them in beautiful mosaic pots, or paint the pots. That's going to make you smile. Reorganize your closets. Go through those freaking plastic Rubbermaid things to see. That's relaxed, because now what you're doing is you're decluttering, or you're beautifying your space that you didn't have time for before because you're always on the go. So, and
Right.
I say the plants because I have two plants, Every Love and Emerald, right? And I repotted her, and I was looking at her pot, and I was like, I need to paint it, you know, paint the pot. And so I'm saying, what a best time than during the slowdown? Because remember, when you're doing something is when the ideas get invited in. When you take a walk, your mind is like those doors open up. They're the double doors. They open up, and you're like, and you have all these ideas coming through, and you smile because, okay, my mojo's back, right? But if you don't walk like that, or take this month to make little changes around your house, that whenever you walk in that room, you're going to instantly smile. You're going to smile because you took the time to do something and make it different. And you're going to look at it every day, and every day it's going to tickle you. That's what I mean by rest. Do simple stuff. Make January that. Keep it simple. Let's keep it simple. Stupid. And then go forward. Because it is that simple. Life is simple. It is Life is short, yet the longest journey you would travel. So make it simple, make it beautiful, work with it. Don't go against the current in your life. Ride the wave. Just write it. And when you got to jump off here to handle this business, when you got to do that, when you got to roll up the sleeves and work hard late into the night to accomplish this goal you have, then you're going to have all the energy to do it. When you come home, you're going to see that planter painted the way you wanted it. And it's going to make you smile through the exhaustion. And then that's how it's going to be. And sometimes the simplest way to live is the life that you want to live.
But you have to ask yourself the question. You said something very cool. It contradicted what I said, but actually didn't. So I want to make it clear for people in case they heard that contradiction. In order for us to be clear on things, to clear our head, we do need the time to be still. We do need the time, that pause. But Gladiator Guru said, taking out, like keeping busy, doing something like a busy work, that also helps you. So, and what we mean by that is walking does not take a lot of brain activity. It's just a physical thing that we've done. Potting a plant is a physical activity. Decluttering and taking out a box. Yeah, you're thinking a little bit, but cleaning your house, those are activities that are physical activities that we've done, and we don't have to put too much. It's not like you're doing something brand new, like trying a new exercise routine, or that you've never done before and you have to pay really close attention. You're doing things that you do, but it's getting you moving. There's tremendous benefit to having moments of stillness and allowing yourself to sit, and also moving to get the blood flowing into your brain. And I do well either way. In fact, I actually do better when I'm moving with thoughts, but I still need that downtime to sort of just sit and let myself be. So do both, but ask yourself those tough questions and don't be afraid to answer them. Don't sit there and say, okay, they want me to ask myself, am I living the life that I want to live? Oh, no, I hate my life. I'm looking around. I hate my house. I hate this. I hate that. Okay, feel that emotion. Don't worry about it. Don't let somebody tell you, oh, hate's, that's awful. Don't have that word. Let it out. Be honest with yourself. It's being honest. I hate it. I hate where I live. I hate this. I hate my life. Okay, fine. Say it. Acknowledge it. Be aware of it. Now say, what can be done about it? What if I hate this so much? What is it that I like? What I want? And you have to be honest with yourself about this. You have to face it. It's never going to change. And you have to write it down because you're never going to remember it. That's the thing. You'll sit there, you'll go, I hate this, I hate that. Write it down. Date it so that you acknowledge that. So that gets into the next phase. When we get to that phase of acknowledgement, you have to be honest with yourself about this. I don't like this. Or what do you like about your life? What do you love about your life? And when we're talking about your life, we're not just talking about what you're seeing, your tangible things, the people in it.
Not just social media life,
You
the
have to,
raw, the ugly, that life, because that is the life that you're gonna say, oh, I hate this, but you really, the badass Buddha said something earlier. I'm sorry to have cut you off, but movimiento es vida. Movement is life.
yes, movement is
When
life.
you're doing what you think
Yes.
you keep putting off because, oh, I'll get that done in 5 minutes. I'll organize my shoes. I don't even wear half of them. Blah blah blah. The simple work, fixing your house up. Finally, just taking a day to regroup and reorganize. Do you need 6 canisters on your counter? Do you really need 6 canisters, or can you put them on the bottom? See, I hate anything on my counters. So so that stuff, when your space is crowded, your mind is crowded, so your thoughts are not flowing. Your
Amen to that.
ideas cannot make it to the paper to then be created into goals and reality that you're
Yes.
working through. So everything has a process. Now, everything can be done in your life if you make yourself a priority and you put your headphones on and you blast that Nina Simone and you say, okay, let me get to work. And you start doing the busy work. And then you're going to run into a memory saying, oh, I remember this. Now you get, that adrenaline going, right? You're evoking those memories that were happy, but we forgot because the life in between that happy moment and today marred or merged, or the happy thoughts and, oh my God, I was happy at this time in my life. How could I forget that? Boom. You're pulling the dark curtains back a little. So sometimes in organizing and finding things to do that is not going to overwork your brain because you really just need to rest it, it's going to enhance it. And you're going to be reminded of stuff, the good, the bad, the ugly, but mostly the good. When I wrote a poem that I published, it's called I Forgive You, for my mom, I said, I'm sorry for all the good times that we had, but I forgot. Because I remembered the resentment I had towards her. And we do that with certain things in our lives. Okay? Everything that we are angry at today, that we hate, that we never want to see, at one point they made us happy. That's why they were sewn into the tapestries of our lives. But some things either need to be trashed, burned, or cut up into a million little pieces and said no mas. But only you hold the key to that life that you want to live.
Yep.
Keys are very important for me. I had a painting, I threw it out, it somehow ended up back on my porch, and it's a woman with the key on her spine. And because we hold the key to everything in our lives, the good, the bad, the ugly. Yes, people can harm us. People have harmed us. People have destroyed us, have taken from us. But obviously, if they did all that, okay, it's done. You're still standing. Let's remember Elton John. I'm still standing better than I bet. I could sing that song now. Remember that song. You're still standing here today. So you know what? Roll your sleeves up and get to work. Because God makes no mistakes. And you were created to be the best you could ever be. People, places, and things have no control over how you're going to live your life moving forward. So, are you living the life you want? Badass? Are you?
No. Nope. Nope. I know what needs to be done. And part of that question when you ask yourself is that you also have to look internal. It's not, that's what I was saying before. It's not just about the outside. It's who you're with. It's what's in front of you, the tangible items. Who are you representing? Like, are you the person that you wanted to be in your life too? Because a lot of times when we don't live the life that we want to live, we get that resentment and then we get angry and we look back and go, God, I used to be such a happy person. You ever say that to yourself? I used to be such a happy person. You're the opposite, Gladys Guru. You're like the only person that we know that's opposite. You admit, you're like, no, I was a rageful person, but I'm better now. But a lot of other people were like, God, for years, I was such a happy, go lucky, fun person. And then years passed and I just got angrier and frustrated. And the anger and frustration are most often 90% of the time, maybe even 95% of the time, a result of
say it.
You not saying what needs to be said, you not doing what you want to do, you holding back and allowing other things to get in the way of who you are and what you wanted to do in your dreams. And
Okay,
that's
can I say something?
Sure.
Because it's gonna go. Then you can go back. I'm sorry.
Yeah, go ahead.
Sorry. You say 90% of the time is ourselves because of what?
Resentment. Isn't that what I said?
90% of the time that we are not happy, that we don't have no control over none of that. Everything she said is because of our expectations of how people should have been. That's my take. We're going to differ on our opinions. And that's what I love about.
No, I agree with you on that.
90% of our unhappiness is caused because we had expectations of people. People will let us down. We have let people down.
Yes.
We always talk about what people did to us. How about what we've done to people?
Yes.
Because of resentment to the people who did something to us. It's a vicious cycle. But 90% of the time that we're unhappy is because we had expectations. We try to control the situation. You know, we were possessive in certain areas of our lives. Yep. And those people were strong enough to say, not today, boo-boo. And we got upset and wounded and sentimental. And how dare they, after everything I've done for them, everything I've sacrificed for them. Check yourself out the door, please.
Yes.
Because this year, awareness is going to be of your own bad habits. And I'm speaking out of experience. For those who knew me 20 years ago, knew my opinions, like, oh no. And I was very forceful on my opinions. I was always in charge of many things and many people in my life. And I thought that I was just the way I was. You know, I was a mera mera. You know, when this show first came out, you don't know how many phone calls and texts I got from so many different people telling me, are you watching the Queen of the South? That bitch reminds me of you. Because that's how I rolled. Always the head, always in control. But was it? And then God said, girl, you need to sit down. I'm going to give you a heavy assignment. And he gave me the ALS portion of my husband.
Oh, shoot.
You see? So there's gratitude in everything that happens to us, whether we like it or not, but it served a purpose. And it humbled me. But it still took years for me to really say, oof, I don't want to be her anymore. I don't want to control any situations. I don't want people to only listen to what I have to say. I don't want to do this. I'm just going to be like, do, 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 do. And I started traveling. So 90% of why we say people offended us and let us down, check yourself. Go back to when that person was responding to you, your expectations or your assumptions of how your life should have been, but yet you didn't do anything because go back to what the badass Buddha said. Because her second husband was not involved in all the things she loved and enjoyed doing with her first husband, she sold all her equipment and gave up on that part of her life.
Exactly.
So she can't be mad at everything he did because
right,
he
exactly.
gave up on who she was. So
Yes.
he was trying to make up for it in a bad way.
He didn't give up who he was.
Exactly. But you see what I'm saying? And I don't want to offend anybody when I say that because people get mad at me when I say that. But the ultimate truth is, did I choose to get molested from the age of 6 to 14? No. But did I decide at 14 to fight back as some stranger was playing I'm Still Standing Outside? And I hated that song because it always brought me back to that moment until I had no choice but to hear it. And when I heard it, it was such an empowering song that God was saying, I'm with you. You got this. There are choices that we could have possibly had no say in. But how we handled it afterwards was totally our fault. Totally our fault. So you can stay wounded and mad at what somebody did to you 20 years, or you could buckle the fuck up and say, I'm in charge of my life. What that person did to me, it hurt me. It stung me like 20 bees. But guess what? I didn't get poisoned. I got mad. I got strong. And I got centered. Because now I know what I've endured, what I can go through, and who the fuck I am. And that's how you start living the life you want, by being aware of your participation in the atrocities that happened in your yesterday and preventing them from happening in your tomorrow.
Yes.
And living the life you want today in the meantime.
Yes. And we're going to talk about that. Like the whole month of March is going to be accountability, the whole entire month. But it starts with awareness. Like you've got to face this piece. You have got to admit it. You have got to be truthful. And it sucks and it hurts sometimes, especially with the older we get. We don't want to sit there and admit to ourselves that, oh my God, I'm 55 years old or I'm 45 years old and I'm not living the life that I really, really wanted to live or want to live. You know, you might be living the life you wanted to live because you created it and good for you. But we change, we grow. And then all of a sudden we say, I don't want this life anymore. And then we feel kind of guilty because we're like, but this is what I asked for. This is what I wanted. I've got the spouse. I've got the kids. I've got the house. But something's not sitting right. What is it? You have to, again, it's awareness. You have to recognize it. Was there something there that you sort of pushed down deep and didn't think about since you were a child? You know, and then you're like, okay, I'm looking around now going, not at all, you know, not at all. Like I think back when I was a child, all I ever wanted was a farm. Always. Like I always wanted my acreage, my animals. I wanted to be surrounded by animals. And although that periodically came through in the last 20 years with my second marriage, it really came in when, or not 20 years, but it really came in when we separated, was the fact that, or even the last like 4 years, it was more like, oh my God, I really, really want this. Like I forgot how much I like animals. It's not just about saying I want the farm. It's not about saying I want to live on property. I want to take care of these animals every day. I get joy in going to like take my daughter to a petting zoo and pet goats and stuff like that. You know, like that is something that has been ingrained since I was a child. Where did that go all those years? Why did that not come into fruition and be the main part of my goals set as an adult? I put all this other shit in the way that was absolutely unnecessary. And in the
Unnecessary.
end, that is my peace. My peace is literally getting up and shoveling horse shit. Could you imagine that? Like, I love the idea of going in and shoveling hay and horse manure. Not everybody's cup of tea. I
No.
will admit that. But for me, if I could get up every single day and do that, I would be the happiest person ever in the
And
world,
that's beautiful. Thank you, Arlene. That's beautiful because you know what? You're right. Just like you learned during caregiving. It's not for everybody. It don't matter who, if it's your husband, your child, your daddy, your mama. It doesn't matter. And you doing what you do. Like, people love to go to horse stables when all of that is already taken care of, when the shit's been scooped up and the hay's been fed, and
That's
it
okay
looks kind
too.
of neat.
Yep.
You know, so that is beautiful. My cousins on my mother's side grew up doing that, and they love it, and they still miss it, and they still like. Oh, one of them owns a horse for her kids, and they rent a space for it. But for you to want that, I wish you all the blessings in the world, that you would succeed that within the next 3 years of your life.
Me too. Thank you.
Okay, and you know, I was gonna say something very prolific, and it just flew out of my mind. But you know, what was it? Because I got caught up in with the horse stuff. But anyway, you know, that as long as we have breath within us, we still have the opportunity to live the life that we truly want to live.
Yes.
Doesn't matter if you're
Choice.
18 or 88. As long as you have life in it, go do it. Go make your soul sing and your spirit dance, because only you can do that. You know, and oh, you brought up that, you know, when you were a child, you had this dream. We all had childhood dreams, you know, and you brought something up that made me smile, because I always said I wanted to work with the special needs. I always wanted to teach the special needs. And at one point in my life, my dad reminded me of that. And I was like, oh, and I did. You know, I worked for 5 years with Down syndrome and severe autistic. They weren't children, but they were afflicted people, and I loved it. And they would come in and call me my little Margie, and it was the most beautiful thing. But just because I said I wanted to teach that didn't mean it was going to be my lifelong. I'm going to retire from that.
Right.
And that's why when I do the quarterly New Year's, new me, new beginnings, I do it quarterly, because not everything is a race, and not everything should be made to wait. You might have the best idea in the world, but you're going to leave it towards the end, and you're missing that window of opportunity where it would propel and take off. So, you know, stop the excuses. Be aware of who you were and where you are today. Start going through your stuff. Remember, stop organizing what needs to be eliminated. Live freely, live open, live in a space of love, self-love. Fall in love with yourself. You know, in my journals, I wrote that inner child that grew into the silent woman. That's what I was going to say. When you said, when as a child you thought about farming, we allow people, places, and things to silence that individual inside. And I'm talking about when we were children. Our parents, sit down, shut up. You're not thirsty. You're not hungry. When we go places, you don't want nothing. You don't need nothing. You don't see nothing. That like terrorizes you, right? And so then that inner child is silenced. And although we're growing into womanhood, that inner child is growing, but into a silent woman that is pleading us, and it's trying to find any way to remind us to go back to where we were supposed to be, so that we can flourish like the flowers in the garden. Tend to that garden. Repot that beautiful plant. Put smiley faces. Do whatever it can to get you started on the path that you are meant to live in. And guess what? We're talking about it this year, because this year is the year of wonder. And let's battle beautifully for the next 12 months to get ourselves exactly where we want to be, which only you can do it. Are you ready? Is one question. And what are you waiting for? Is the next.
That's right.
Who,
Fabulous. Fantastic. And I
what did
want to know.
Priscilla say? Hola, Priscilla. Buenos dias. It's so easy to fall into excuses, fall and blame others. We really do have to take responsibility and recognize the only person that has control of our lives is ourselves. Hallelujah. I say that a lot, and people are like, you're always hurting people's feelings. You know what? Get over it. You got over all the other bullshit that you're still holding on to. Let this one go too. You know, when you're ready to clean up your closet and all them skeletons that you're saving for, like, you know, memorabilia of, oh, I remember this hurt and I remember that hurt. Bury the bitches, burn them, do some whatever you have to do. They no longer should take up space in your life.
Yes. And that's what January is. Give yourself, you didn't have to do that in one night on New Year's Eve or I had to get this done by the end of December and I didn't get it done. I'm screwed. January, make that. God, again, she said this last Tuesday and it sat with me and I've been telling everybody about what she said and then saying, what if we start our year technically in February? January is the warm up. It's just like when you're getting ready to work to run that marathon. You don't just get out of bed, get dressed, and show up. You warm up.
January, even if it's today, I did. I slept until 10. I woke up, had a cup of coffee. Write it, and then celebrate that you took those breaks. You know, and when I would oversleep because I'm working crazy hours, I would wake up like feeling so guilty. My niece is like, chill. You're always doing something. Just chill. And guess what I started doing? On my own, I started waking up early and doing and not doing and then doing. And you know what? I'm so in love with myself right now. Am I a little cracked? But then I can sugi my ass into a masterpiece. I fill those cracks with gold of the achievements that I acquired throughout the day, the week, the month. Because guess what? We are the author of our lives. Yes. We hold that pen that tells the story for those to come after us.
Right.
Okay, so leave a legacy of courage, of tenacity, of strength, of achievement, but your achievements, not society-imposed achievements. I don't give a shit what Lori achieves in her life. I'm just going to applaud her and support her to accomplish whatever it is that she is going to do, because that is her rhythm, that is her conga dance, and that is her legacy she's leaving. And then she does the same for me. She will support me in whatever it is I'm doing, and they don't have to be twins. They don't even got to be fucking friends. What they got to be are dreams achieved.
Yeah.
And that's how you empower one another.
Yes.
It doesn't matter if I like what she's doing or she likes what I'm doing. It doesn't matter. She's doing it. That's the support that is given.
Exactly. And be aware of every moment that you talk about what other people are doing.
Well, because it means you're not, it's less of what you're doing, right?
If they're doing this and they're doing that.
Well, what the hell are you doing? You're following them. What are you doing for you?
That, and I got to check myself at the door every time for like certain people in my life. I've got to stop and say the energy that I'm putting into that is all it is distracting me from what I am not doing.
Yes.
So, or whether the other people are doing or not doing. The more you say pay attention to them, the more you take away your energy from yourself. So no mas, no mas, no mas, no mas.
No mas. Listen, Arlene and Darlene, you know what? I love that the Badass Buddha always writes it in. And I love that she's on point. I'm trying to be better. That's why I'm reading comments now, because I wasn't. So that was one of my goals for this quarter. I don't know if it's going to happen during the summer, but I like to read. I want to be more participating, because the Badass Buddha is always taking charge of that. Thank you, by the way. You see, that is why when we know each other's strength, we must learn our own strengths and our own lack of strength, so that I can tell her, you know what? I'm not good at this. Oh, I am. I'll do it. Are you sure? Because I'm not going to be much help. Oh, no, I can do it. That's how we started Viva. I was like, I'm not good at all this paperwork and setting this up. And she's like, oh, I love doing that. And I said, are you sure? Because I'm not. Like, this is not something that I don't want to do today. I'm just not, you know. So There's things that I have to do, and I'll do them 1, 2, 3 because they're, but then there's things that I know I'm not good at because I've always worked free, like a butterfly, not behind a desk, not under somebody's thumb. So learn who you are. Learn who you are. Be aware of who you were so you could know what you need to organize and what you need to eliminate. I love those 2 words.
And you can change, by the way.
Organize to eliminate. Organize your life solely to eliminate what's not needed in your life. Who's not needed in your life? Because not everybody deserves VIP seating in your life this year. So meet people where they're at. Okay? Because they show up as much as they can. And then you decide, am I that mending magnet still? Or am I going to say, listen, if you need me, you can give me a call. I give you the first 30 minutes free because that's my goal. That's my verbiage for this year as well. And then we'll take it from there. God bless you, Zot. Thank you.
Yes.
For staying on late with us. It is, you know what? This is the self-discovery of who you are. We're like, I know who I am. Do you? What's your favorite color? Why is it your favorite color? How does it make you feel when you wear it? They don't know how to answer.
I like that. I know who I am. Do you?
It's in my journal. It's in my journal. Why do you wear this color?
Do you really?
Do you really? Like, and a lot of people like, well, what you mean? Do I really? And then you ask them questions and they can't answer and they get mad at you. Don't be mad at me because you're stupid and don't know who the fuck you are. God. So that's just life. That's life. Learn who you are. I'm sweet as pie. And I'm hot like a jalapeno. And I can be both of them in one sentence. But I do it with love. And I do it to wake people up. And if you don't like it, then caught badass Buddha. But I walk in my truth.
Don't call me.
Help and you
I don't want to deal with that either.
You want to learn something different and you want to go against the grain and you want to travel the road that has been forgotten. Then see about me. Call me. We're both life coaches. And that's it, ladies.
And with that, let's get out of here. So we'll see you on Thursday. And Thursday's conversation is, who are you then and now? So bring it on. Let's talk about this. Let's be real. And this is the place to do it. So you don't have to put in the comments, but at least write it while we're talking. So from the Badass Buddha, enjoy your day, everybody. And remember, be you, be real, and be extraordinary.
And from the Gladiator Guru, mi gente, aquí con la Margarita, remember to breathe in the beauty and breathe out the bullshit. Namaste.